Welcome back. 21 states are still financially indebted to their civil servants, pensioners, and independent agencies. And that's according to a Budget Nigeria survey. Our big story tonight takes a look at this hydra-headed challenge in spite of the federal government's support with bailout funds.
Recently, Budget Nigeria, a civic organization which uses an array of tech tools to simplify the budget and matters of public spending, released a graphic representation of state government's financial indebtedness to its workforce and others. A situation that has raised concerns about how the federal government's bailout funds of 510 billion naira to indebted states is being put to use. Kwara State, in budget's representation, owes pensioners and independent agency workers 3 months' salaries, but the government rejects the claim.
What the survey is probably referring to are local government pensioners, which, as we know, are the responsibility of the local government councils in the states, and they are owed varying degrees of arrears.
Meanwhile, a cross-section of pensioners and workers in Osun State say the budget survey does not depict the true indebtedness of salaries owed them. Budget in its survey states that workers at the local government, primary and secondary school have been paid up to date, while pensioners are owed just 2 months.
According to the analysis I've given before, 12 solid months, and it's owing us gratuity 9.4 billion for civil servants and secondary schools alone. For local government pensioner and primary schools, about 12 billion naira.
The government is aware of this. We know that we have, there's an arrears which, as soon as the economy improves, will be cleared, But the first point, the starting point, is for us to get back to 100% across all cadres.
The Benue State government is also on the defensive, denying the widely circulated budget report that civil servants are being owed. A civil servant confirms that he has been paid up to January 2017. But left with 4 months' outstanding salaries.
I paid January salary, and they promised to start paying the remaining months through table payment, as claimed by the Deputy Governor, who is in charge of emergency salary payments.
Edo State government also debunks the report of budget survey, stating that primary school teachers are owed 1 month's salary. Civil servants in Bayelsa State confirmed that their monthly salary is being paid as at when due, but wants the Governor Seriake Dixon's led administration to hasten the payment of the 6-month salaries owed them in 2016. It's a different scenario at the local government level, as the number of months of salary debt owed employees vary in each local councils. For the pensioners in the state, they look to have lost count on the exact number of months being owed, even though they refuse to speak on camera for fear of being quoted. But Budget Nigeria puts the number of debt owed pensioners in Bayelsa State at 13 months, while secondary school teachers and independent workers are said to be owed 11 months each. Efforts to get government side of the story is futile, as they all decline to comment on the subject matter. According to Budget, 14 states out of 36 are up to date in the payment of workers' salaries, pensioners and others, while Kogi, with 15 months outstanding, is the most critical. Efforts to get the state government's reaction was unsuccessful as at the time of compiling this report.
The Nasarawa State government and the Dangote Group of companies have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a sugar plantation in the state. The 217 billion naira sugar project has a production capacity of 480 metric tons per annum and will also generate 96 megawatts of electricity.
For our Governor, Father, for the blessings that you have been showering upon him.
It's the historic signing of a memorandum of understanding for a 60-hectare sugarcane farm in the state, the first of its kind in Africa. The governor of Nasarawa State sees the initiative as one which will bring development to the people who are in dire need of it.
Today's event
marks a significant milestone in our steady stride towards actualizing the coming into fruition the largest sugar project in sub-Saharan Africa, sited in our dear state, Nasarawa.
President of the Dangote Group explains other benefits of siting the project in the state, as well as his interest in contributing significantly to the agricultural sector.
Thank you very much.
This will include the provision of 30,000 jobs and generation of 96 megawatts of electricity.
As we speak now, the target is for Dangote Sugar to produce 1.08 million tons of white sugar in the next 5 years, like what Engineer Sule said. And I believe it is doable. We will do it. I know that the executive secretary said that this is a very tall, tough target, but I can assure you Dr. Busari will be able to achieve this, and we will work hard to do that.
There are words of support for the new partnership about to be consummated.
The people of Tonga are where they are where it happened, or is going to happen. But the entire country will feel the impact of this investment.
The governor of Nasarawa State and president of the Dangote Group then appends their signatures on the new deal.
Specifically, the development agreement, the MOU, signed, sealed, and delivered between Nasarawa State government and Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC for the 60.
This is expected to generate jobs for unemployed youths in the next few years.
Of Nasarawa State.
And now time for the business news of the day. Here is Emana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's labor productivity increased 10.8% year-on-year to 783.51 billion naira in the fourth quarter of 2016, the highest level since the first quarter of the preceding year. A survey from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that total number of hours for work also climbed 0.48% on a quarterly basis. According to the NBS, the agriculture sector recorded the highest growth of 3.39%, while the transportation and creative sectors follows. The report notes that investments in the economy were low during the period, but productivity was aided by the stability in the electricity supply. And the Nigerian Debt Management Office says it has filed a registration statement on behalf of the federal government with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission for the purpose of floating a new diaspora bond. In a statement, the Debt Office further states that a listing application will be made to the UK for the admission of the global debt offer and to the London Stock Exchange PLC for the trading of the bond. The two international financial firms, Bank of America Merrill Lynch and Standard Bank of South Africa, are joint lead managers, while First Bank of Nigeria and UBA are domestic joint lead managers. In the meantime, the Debt Office says investors' roadshow meetings are scheduled for the United Kingdom, the United States and Switzerland from June the 13th, after which pricing for the diaspora bond will begin, subject to market conditions. Now, the Nigerian Ports Authority on Wednesday gave life to the new executive order on ports operations by sacking the Standard Organization of Nigeria, the National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control, and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. At a meeting with all government agencies in the ports, Ports Authority Managing Director Mrs. Hadiza Usman said SON, NAFDAC, and NDLEA are no longer allowed to have representatives at all Nigerian ports or be part of cargo clearance services. The NPA boss says the presidential directive of year 2011 that limits the total number of government agencies operating to only 7 has now been reinstated. The 7 agencies are the NPA, the Customs, Nigerian Maritime Safety Agency, the Department of State Securities, and the Nigerian Police, as well as the Immigration Service and Port Health Services. The Nigerian bourse sustained yesterday's positive momentum, with the all-share index up 0.77% on account of renewed buying interest in tickers across all major sectors. Chimezie Obi-Iwagu tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The Nigerian equity market remains boisterous as Thursday saw all the sectors gaining except for insurance and the alternative securities. The all-share index closed sunny side by 0.77%, with the market capitalization still at 11 trillion naira mark. In 5,602 deals, investors exchanged over 528 million shares valued at 4.8 billion naira. The banking stocks are still the volume drivers. This time, investors' appetite tilted more towards Access Bank, FBN Holdings and UBA. Market breadth was positive, 45 gainers versus 15 losers. Forte Oil topped the gainers in percentage terms, up 10.22%. And on the losers chart, Golden Breweries led the pack, down 4.71%. Although some market analysts are beginning to express some concerns about the bull run and its long-term sustainability, most traders are optimistic and hopeful that the market will have a good Friday. And that was the Stock Market Report. I'm Chimezie Obi-Iwagu.
Meanwhile, investors across the globe traded cautiously today following the UK election and the testimony of former FBI director in the United States. Here are the numbers left over by investors. And that's Business News Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Imana Amawe. The news at 10 continues shortly.
You first. First Bank.
82 prominent Nigerians and expatriates are now recipients of special honors in Kano State for their roles in the development of the state. Thousands of Kano residents trooped out in large numbers to honor the state's icons. And the event was also another avenue to do an assessment of the nation's economy and its challenges.
That was the wife of the Kano State Governor, Hajia Hafsat Ganduje, in a special appearance to celebrate 50 years of Kano State. This hall are former governors, families of awardees, politicians, businessmen, as well as investors. Horse riding, otherwise known as the Durbar Festival, with Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II riding alongside his district heads and other traditional title holders. So, how has the journey been so far? The governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje, goes down the memory lane.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have indeed come a long way, and as a matter of policy consideration, our administration had continued in the task of nation building, and particularly the continuation and subsequent completion of projects inherited from past administrations.
And time for the awards and those being recognized, including the former military heads of state, retired General Muritala Mohammed, General Sani Abacha, and the former Emir of Kano, His Royal Majesty Ado Bayero, amongst others. Some goodwill messages and more tributes to some of the awardees and from some prominent Nigerians.
It is true that I have well over 15,000 children. My link with these children is simply poverty and those that have no one to help them. Education for me is life. Education is key. education is everything. And the best gift you can give to a child these days is education.
Abdoulaye Umar Dangote has committed himself to building on the legacies of the past leaders and taking Kano to even greater heights. He has already made significant investments in agriculture, including the production and distribution of seeds and the training of extension workers to train farmers.
With Kano State still undergoing transformation on various sectors of the economy, awards like this are expected to stimulate the people to contribute towards the development of the state.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Super Eagles coach Gernot Rohr hints at an altered lineup for Saturday's AFCON qualifier against South Africa following injuries to key players. That's in the sports news. Please stay with us.